But hey, we don't have it plugged in, so it'll just get less hot. Soon we'll be cold.
Fire truck.
Hey guys, welcome to CUZZI Talk, episode 2 with Makeshift Media. I'm Sam.
I'm Levi.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Kay. And this time, we've come back with a lot more new questions to answer.
And kind of a better set. Hopefully the lighting looks a little better.
And the audio.
Yeah, we have our new cameraman, Noah, behind the camera. He's helping us be better.
Do you wanna have a little debut, Noah?
Let's give a little shout out.
Yeah, just go ahead.
So everyone knows
Get
you're
you in
shooting in the
the-
face.
There he is.
There he is, the man himself.
Can we have a
Man
freeze
himself.
frame and it just says like Noah?
Get it.
First thing, first topic. Morgan Freeman, God, or man?
Yeah, so, I mean, we were kind of thinking about how, like, it's interesting that, you know, nobody knows what God looks like, right? And it's always said that, like, God will come, or Jesus will come and spend time amongst the people as a man.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that Morgan Freeman has also, like, never aged the entire time he's been on Earth. He's
And he's
always
still
been
alive.
old.
Yeah.
He's always been.
He's
old.
never been young.
Yeah.
And he's always looked the same.
And
Always
he's
the
looked the
greatest.
And he's
exact
always
same.
played like the narrator speaking down, like
Or,
God.
like, literally God.
Literally
He's
God.
played God, like, a lot of times.
Multiple times.
I think it's a hint.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, he's
God.
like, come on, guys.
He's like,
He's leaving a little
Pay
breadcrumb
attention.
trail of movies.
yeah, exactly.
Morgan Freeman, Jesus.
He's just
I
waiting
think
for
one
it
and
to
the
come
same.
together.
Yeah,
He's Jesus in the flesh.
I agree. It's the same kind of
Yeah.
situation.
Elon Musk
Well,
is an alien.
The same situation of, like, how all of these celebrities that do insane things, like Morgan Freeman, where he doesn't age and plays God in all these movies. Elon Musk is definitely some kind of alien being, or
Bro, he literally says it in Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's
He's
like,
like,
are
yeah,
you like
yeah.
some kind of alien? Like, I've read about it where aliens will like come down and just teach us a bunch of shit and then just like leave. And Elon Musk was like, yeah, like he's like, he goes pretty
Yeah,
good
man.
for a human.
I mean,
And you see Joe Rogan's face, he's like, he's like actually like, thinking about
me and
it.
him kind of came up with this theory as well. Like, why else would him and Jeff Bezos be trying to start all these programs to be getting into space?
Yeah.
It's like they're trying
Is
to.
Jeff Bezos?
Yeah,
Jeff
space
Bezos,
stuff?
yes.
About like what?
He's in the-
No,
in the
he
process.
had the same thing. He actually started up his space exploration before Elon Musk, I believe.
which company is Jeff Bezos?
I don't
involved
remember
with?
exactly which one it is, but I know he started because I know there was a big competition. Where
So I
it was-
remember Virgin Space.
Yeah, I remember hearing that as well. but I don't
Virgin
know if it's
Space
really
was the
owned or
guy that owns, like, all of the other Virgin companies. I can't remember. Like, he has, like, all of the different, like,
The olive oil.
no, not
not
the Virgin olive oil. It's crazy because I think Elon Musk only comes around like once every century or something like that.
Yeah.
And we are living during the time where literally one of the greatest
Innovations,
creators
yeah.
or innovators
He's
of
like-
all time.
I mean, he's like the Albert Einstein of the 21st century, honestly. I mean, think about how much that
revolutionizing the
he's
world.
done.
or like the Nikola Tesla, which is like what
Yeah.
he calls his company that.
Tesla.
He literally like
Right,
is
right.
changing the world. Bro.
Yeah,
like,
it's insane.
it's nuts.
And I don't think, I mean, there's a lot of people that have talked about this, but I don't think there actually ever has been someone as innovative as Elon Musk to
Yeah.
ever exist.
Consistently.
And
Yeah.
someone who has been involved in so many different areas of innovation. Like,
Yeah.
he's building tunnels under Los Angeles,
Yeah, Los
to
Angeles,
solve the
the
traffic.
traffic and
He's
problems.
doing, he's pioneering private space exploration. He's like, electric cars are now actually a thing because
And affordable.
he
True.
pushed
Well, like,
all
think
of
about
these
how
major car companies to make electric cars.
Right, like think about how long, like I remember in like elementary school, I was like, whoa, cool, this Times magazine says they're gonna come out with electric cars next year. And that was
Yeah,
like 2012. And then
Yeah.
he's like, alright guys, now we're actually gonna do it. And
Yeah.
like, he did it.
Well, I remember back in, like, I don't remember exactly when the Tesla first came, the Model S first came out. But I remember my dad and I were watching a YouTube video, and I was like, Dad, look at this freaking car. This thing is insane. And it was like when it very, very first came out. And we were just amazed by the giant touch screen on it and all that stuff, because all the cars still back then had like the little the small little, and they couldn't really do anything either. They weren't like full-fledged computers we still had like iPhone 4s or 5s or whatever we had at the time when the Tesla came out. And so I was just like so blown away by like how crazy. And you know how like when you used to go on YouTube, you just see all these videos about like completely fake like Chinese products and stuff like that. I thought that it was that, and then come to find out like a few years later, it's like one of the biggest car companies to ever exist in America and in the world. And now it's just like,
I also think it's crazy how he's such an intelligent like individual. Usually when you see those like that intelligent of people, say for example like Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos, they kind of seem like robots or like reptilians.
Yeah, but he's
What's the Facebook guy?
Even like
Mark Zuckerberg.
That's Mark Zuckerberg.
And even like Albert Einstein, like those guys were kind of weird. Like they were just off, like, you know.
Well, a lot of them had autism too.
Yeah.
Like Thomas Edison as well. Yeah, but
and like Elon Musk, he's just like so trendy. Like he's just a cool guy. You know what I mean?
Like his car spell, the model spell out.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know if anyone noticed, but like the model spell out sexy. He's like,
and I
cool.
told y'all I have a friend that works for him, and they're in a giant group chat. He just sends memes in there.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. He's
so
like a normal
awesome.
person and a
Yeah.
genius at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting.
That's an unnatural phenomenon, bro.
It's
and
crazy,
that
dude.
is what leads us to say
Well,
he is, in fact,
an
alien.
it's
For
confirmed.
sure. Yeah.
I have another thing about Elon Musk as well. So I don't know if y'all have seen this, but he actually has his own school.
Oh yeah, where there's like 20-something kids.
Yeah,
like,
there's
where
like 20
his kids go to.
And he basically talks about how like the United States school system is so like
Horrible.
whack.
Yeah.
It's like one of the worst school systems in the world.
Yeah.
Just based off of like they kind of, I don't know how exactly where I'm going with this, but I know like the United States education system, they try to like broaden you so much to where they spread you thin. Versus a lot of other countries in Elon Musk, they focus on what your talent is, you know, to where, you know, you kind of pick a career where you excel, and it pushes people to be better in different areas.
Yeah.
So it pushes their like horizons further, rather than just making us mediocre and everything.
And then it pushes the entire country further as a whole.
Exactly.
Because we
Yeah,
have, like,
people
experts in all
working
sorts
towards
of different
experts.
industries.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, another thing with that, like I literally saw a video this morning. Like I woke up and just like went to go check TikTok, whatever, and a video popped up of Elon Musk saying he's like, it started out as, you don't really need a college degree. He's like, you don't. He's like, if you look at like the richest people in the world, those guys did not even finish college.
Yeah.
You know, but like let's say that you had the opportunity to hire those guys to like work with you, it'd probably be a smart idea to hire those guys, right?
Yeah.
Like just the fact that they didn't finish college and yet they're still the richest people, the most successful people of all time, just shows, like proves literally right there that you don't need a college degree.
Yeah.
Obviously, unless you're like wanting to be a doctor or like something to that nature that you need a high
Right.
level of education.
Well, that's what we were talking about
Yeah.
a while ago, was that there is a certain group of people that still need a college degree.
Oh,
like
sure.
whenever you have people's lives in your hands,
Yeah.
I would say you should probably go through
should
a little
be-
bit
you
of
should really
education to
highly
like, get to that
educated.
point. Yeah. But I mean, stuff like what we're doing right now, and just people in like the technology industry say,
Business,
like
you don't need
business,
college
like
to do business.
learn from the people around you, or
The
take
people
a
that are
freaking
really
coding
good, right.
class on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
Yeah.
the world is changing, and
Yeah.
the generation before us doesn't realize that.
I
yet.
mean,
Like,
80% of my classes are on YouTube. I watch the lectures all.
Yeah.
I learn more on YouTube by watching a YouTube video than sitting and listening to a lecture.
yeah, me too.
And it's like, and it's condensed, you know, it's
Exactly.
like, it can be like a 10-minute
you
video.
hear what you need to
Yeah,
hear.
compared to a teacher just dragging it out just to let the time by for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense.
I agree with that.
And another example is my mom. My mom has she has a degree in criminal justice, and she's literally owned a business for the past 20 years and has raised 2 kids on her own with the criminal justice degree, and yet she owns her own business.
Yeah.
There's
Like,
nothing.
Yeah,
It's
she
not
doesn't
both
even-
of my
she
parents-
doesn't even use her degree.
Both of my parents have degrees in rehabilitation.
Yeah.
My mom works for an energy company, and
Yeah.
my dad works for the railroad. So like,
awesome.
I mean, you know, they spent all this money and time getting these bachelor degrees
to learn stuff about
and
not even their career.
They worked in that career or that industry for a few years out of college, and then both got different jobs.
How much do you think college is about actually learning stuff compared to learning how to be a quote unquote grown up and managing your time and stuff like that?
I feel like it's just trying to weed people out. Like it just shows that you can
well,
stick to something.
The weak versus
Yeah, exactly.
strong.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all.
Yeah.
Like if all the degree shows is that you started something and you finished it.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's symbolic for. But if you think about it, like right now we're starting this, and if we keep pursuing this as we would anybody else with a degree, it shows that we started something and we put in the time and the effort to finish it. You know what I mean? Until we
And
can
we're
see it out.
still in college trying to get
Yeah,
a degree
like-
as we're trying to
Right.
finish this.
Like, not going to, I'd say for sure that, like, because everybody's like, oh, dude, but you have to be really smart if you want to drop out of college. But that's not true. It's about having a vision.
Having
on
a reason.
something. Yeah,
And
to
work
have a
ethic.
reason and work
ethic.
ethic for sure. But, like, as long as you have your mindset on something, like, of course, Steve Jobs, like, he didn't finish college, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't become successful necessarily because he was smart. Like, for sure he did. But also, like, he had an idea that was going to change the world. And he was like,
Innovative.
And that being in college was just starting to be a waste of time.
Exactly.
Like, for example-
he already knew what he was going to do, and he
Yeah.
was like, I don't need this
Like
college thing.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, both of those guys were in Harvard,
Yeah.
and they realized,
really?
yeah, both Ben Affleck
Wow.
and
I didn't know.
Matt Damon both like were college roommates in college, and they wrote the movie Good Will Hunting. Dropped out of
No.
college, moved to LA, and literally like
Yeah.
shot the movie. And they said like they had a bunch of people turn them down and stuff like that, and they're because they wanted to be they wanted to be the main characters in the movie
Right.
because they wrote it. They dropped out of Harvard to
Right.
pursue this because they knew that it was going to be something worth doing better than
And
going
that
to
movie
finishing
went
college.
down as one of the greatest.
And it
movies
still
of all
is
time.
like it's
Yeah.
still one of the
I mean,
greatest.
that's one of those
movies of all
movies
time.
that my children will watch.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. That movie can teach you so much about
Oh,
life.
yeah.
And
What's an old movie that you're gonna show your kids, or old song, or something that you're like, oh, this was my stuff,
like music today or
Oh,
music
yeah,
But like
yeah,
our
let's-
parents' music
Right.
that we're gonna.
because I listen to a lot of like
Yeah.
I'm gonna
70s
show
and
them
80s rock.
everything, dude. Like throughout my kids' life, just like how my parents have showed me their music. When
Yeah.
we're riding in the car together or whatever, I'm gonna be like, look, this is the music that
I was
I
raised
listened
on.
to when I was
Yeah.
your age. Like when I was in high school, like we were bumping like Kanye and Travis Scott and like all that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff. And
yeah.
like I want you to hear like these artists and like
Kendrick.
and the cool thing that I always really appreciated about my dad was that he was always really receptive to me showing him my music.
Yeah.
And always like literally I was doing homework one day when I still lived at home.
Yeah.
And I'm in my room, and in our living room we had like this big surround sound system in the living room, but the balcony to my upstairs is open to the downstairs
Yeah,
living
that's
room.
what it is.
And so I just hear Power by Kanye West like freaking blaring out of the living room. And I'm like, what? I check my phone to see if it's like connected to the Bluetooth. I'm like, what's going on? And I like walk out there. My dad is he's not even sitting. He's like standing in the middle of the living room with his phone, and he's like looking at the speakers and stuff. He's, like, jamming. And I'm like, and I want to be like that.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah,
my
of
kids
course.
to be able to like show me their music
Yeah.
and like
Being
me enjoy it with them.
Open-minded to everything.
Yeah.
I wish my mom was like that, honestly, because because literally she'll hear a beat of like a rap song where it's like really fast paced, and
She's
it's like
like,
she's like, turn that off. I'm like, Mom, come on.
Yeah.
Like this is the music that I'm growing up on. Like,
Yeah.
because back then, like her parents, whenever
Yeah,
like
it's
whenever
just a
music would
generation.
come
They
in,
were like Black Sabbath is sick.
yeah, like the devil,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nirvana. They even thought Nirvana was
Yeah,
the
it was
devil.
all.
Yeah.
And that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like even go back to like the 40s in music and stuff, and they're like, "I'm gonna take you out to eat," and then all the
I
parents,
wanna hold-
I want to hold your hand, and they're like, "No, stop!" Like,
Yeah.
Like Elvis, how he was like the first person to see
Yeah.
like below the waist.
And
Yeah.
he almost like got arrested
Yeah.
for it, yeah, because it was like
Yeah.
illegal to show below your waist because it was
Yeah.
like provocative.
It's so crazy, dude.
Yeah.
From moving his hips. They're not even crazy
Yeah.
dances.
Yo,
It's just
that's
Yeah.
another
wiggle.
good question. When is like the explicitness gonna like reach its peak? Has it reached its?
I don't think
what's
it
gonna
can get any
happen?
worse.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I
I
think
mean,
that the
WAP
explicitness changes with the trends. of
that's a good
being
point.
explicit. Like, we have different explicit words now.
Yeah.
But
than
don't you
they
think
did.
that like explicit material is at an all-time high right now?
I mean, like,
Well,
look at
it'll
WAP.
always
Look at
grow.
WAP.
Like that,
It'll
yeah,
always
so WAP.
grow. It'll always just keep going up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Until
because-
I don't know, I
like
can't
there's
imagine
naked
it.
girls on TV, like when's it gonna
Oh,
stop?
I see.
There already
Yeah,
is.
where do you
There
draw
has
the
been
line?
since
There already
the
is
90s.
naked girls
When you
on
don't
TV,
have pay-per-view,
man.
When you
Yeah,
where do
yeah.
you draw the line though? Like, are you talking about like if you're talking about like it being on television, cable television is going to be obsolete in the next. If it's not already
it's not.
obsolete.
It's already. No one
It's
watches
no
it.
way
Nobody
to
uses
use
it.
cable.
Unless it's like the
I mean,
news.
So then
I have Hulu.
So then at that
Live
point,
TV,
it
but I just use it to watch like
normal stuff on
Sports.
Hulu. Yeah,
Yeah.
stream stuff on Hulu. So in that aspect, then it will never stop because it's just all streaming and you get to choose what you come across.
Yeah.
So then they can straight up put completely naked films on like
Well, let's
Hulu,
say
if they
as
really
far
want to.
as far as music goes, I mean, they've exhausted every cuss word there is in the book, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, bro.
But that's what I'm saying is like we keep creating new explicit words.
yeah, that's true.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if someone heard you say "wop," they'd be like,
oh,
"What
yeah.
are you talking
Yeah.
about?"
What does that mean?
Yeah. So
What is that acronym for?
Yeah.
But
So we just keep
coming up with
coming up with new
stuff, and we're
ways
like,
to
hey, this is bad. This is bad.
This is bad. So let's use
hey guys, this is a bad
This is
word.
a new
that we
bad
just
word
made
that
up.
just
and that
Yeah.
kind of draws us into another topic as well. The whole what does like cuss words originate from and like
yeah, that's
why,
very,
how they
Yeah.
came to be, or I mean we don't
Right.
obviously know.
I
the
mean,
facts behind them.
even if you want to get like spiritual with it with the Bible, it says what y'all were talking about.
Well,
last
we were
weekend.
saying like it's interesting that in the Bible it doesn't say "do not say these words."
Yes,
It
it
talks
doesn't
about
say
foul
like don't
it
say
says
this.
don't
this.
use foul language, but it's interesting that foul language is only foul because it's decided by our
Right.
society to
Exactly.
be that.
Well,
English was not a language when the Bible was
Right.
written.
Also,
and
not only cuss words, but saying like "I hate you." That counts as like
That's what-
foul
that's what
language.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like it depends how you're meaning it.
so we were
Like-
talking about that. If the foul language is like we're gonna have
Insulting.
an effing good time,
is that really
Like,
is that
yeah,
really
like,
foul language?
Yeah, because
You
you're
know what I'm
speaking it
saying?
in a positive manner. Like we're gonna go have a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah.
yeah.
because it's not foul if you're talking about it in a good manner, or like this guy's effing cool.
To me,
You know, like-
it has to be in the right company. Like obviously, you're not going to go to church.
Of course it does, but that's
Yeah,
the
of course.
interesting part is that it's only because
It's just-
certain people
and
have
it's been-
decided that
it's
those
been decided
particular
by-
words are foul.
Right.
That they are.
It-
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it just doesn't. It doesn't really make sense if you really think about it. Like, who decided that saying the F word was a bad word? Like,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
like, why can't you go to church and
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
not that you would.
not that
that
you,
you
not
would,
that you would,
but-
but then again, like, why is it bad? Because
Yeah.
somebody has some random person was.
Well,
like,
obviously,
you know,
it's like an aggressive word
Yeah.
to mean having sex.
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
I
like,
guess, yeah.
and also it's
if
the
you're
stigma
using it in that sense,
from generation to generation as well. Like it's one of those things where you're raised and you're like, you can't say this, you can't say this. So
Yeah.
that stigma just kind of sticks and grows as you, like, I guess as generations progress, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah,
Oh.
and I feel like now our generation is more open to using cuss words than
Oh,
anyone.
easily.
I mean, just like we're more open to getting tattoos.
Well, just like we're open to getting more tattoos, exactly.
It's because our generation is going to soon be in positions of power,
yeah.
and
You're
and
gonna
so
see people
now-
walking up on the podium of some important business with neck
Neck
tattoos and
exactly.
stuff. Like,
You
because
see what
nobody
that
cares anymore.
what that like that's you know, if you have meaningful tattoos, like I have a couple, but they all are super meaningful to me.
Well, and I
And-
understand how the
like-
stigma of
Yeah.
tattoos used to be.
Yeah.
This is like gang affiliated. or
Yeah,
this is-
exactly.
because that really used to be.
Well, if you've got, like,
the only
skulls-
people that got tattoos.
isn't it
the
like
Bible?
like sailors get them and bikers?
Bikers,
From the
sailors,
Bible?
gang.
Yeah,
like, that was
like
pretty
that
much
was
it. Yeah.
all the stuff that's related to like tattoos and eating pigs and that kind of stuff
In the
is
Bible,
all
yeah.
is all due to like the Old Testament. And in the Old Testament, like of course we eat pig today, we all eat bacon. It was all due because all those rules that were set in the Old Testament were to save people. Because if you were to put a needle in somebody back in the
Oh,
day,
yeah.
you would die.
Because,
Right.
yeah, there's no
You
treatment.
die.
There's no
treatments, no
You
medication,
can't
nothing.
sterilize it.
That's
like
what I'm
they didn't
saying.
have any of that figured out.
Just like how you couldn't eat pig because it was not a clean meat. Like it would literally
you could
kill
get
you.
parasites
You
and all
would
sorts
literally
of stuff.
die.
Well, in the Bible, it also talks about like basically if you get tattoos, it's a sin. But then it goes on to say if you cut your hair, it's a sin.
Just
like,
like
you know,
that's what I'm saying, just like
y'all
big
seen
as well,
that, right?
Yeah.
Like, why?
It's all to do with the Old Testament, and I think honestly the safety of the people back then. I don't know how hair relates to safety.
Yeah.
I don't know how cutting your hair could cause you to die, but I know with pigs and tattoos, like the needles the eating of the pigs, I know that has to do towards like safety. Because you would, like I said, you ate bacon back in the day, you die.
Have you ever seen those like posts and it's like, oh, so you eat bacon and call yourself a Christian? Check the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
You're like,
come
on, man.
Do a little bit of research.
It's just like how the standards of society just are constantly changing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One thing I wanted to go back to when we were talking about as far as like cussing and people seeing stuff online and accessibility to all that like bad stuff.
Yeah.
What is like a good age to have a cell phone? Because in our generation, a lot of kids like maybe like 9, 10, 11, whatever, like had a like little flip phone. You could call your mom and dad and
Yeah.
And that
your
was
grandma.
it,
Like, I had a little like
I
black.
had
bag
a
on my mom's
Nokia,
contact.
and it was this big, and it had my mom and my dad in it. And
Exactly.
the only reason why I even had it, I wasn't allowed to take it out of my mom's desk until my mom left on a business trip.
I think
Because she used to have to fly far away,
Right.
and I wanted to be able to call her because I was young, and so I could like say goodnight, stuff like that. But that was the only reason why I had that. And
Go ahead, sorry. I haven't cut you off.
well, I mean, what I was gonna say was, it's interesting to see the like kids that are still part of our generation. They're only like 5 years younger than us. Grew up with touchscreens around them as far as they can remember.
Yeah.
And we understand that it's like a privilege to have those
Right.
things.
It's like giving a kid a gun, man. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like
Yeah.
because it's a privilege. You got to know how to use it, or else
Yeah.
you could screw yourself over. Like it's.
Well, honestly, it's almost worse than a gun because there's so many horrible things
that you see
that
on
They can
Like,
lead you into as
There's
well.
statistics that show that since smartphone usage has risen since like 2008, the suicide rate in teenage girls from the ages of 12 to 15 has risen like 80%,
It's horrible.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
insane.
12 to 15.
Yeah.
You see you see like things with like 10-year-olds that will take their life because of like
How people treat
cyberbullying.
them online.
Yeah.
Like
And
what,
the
at
thing
10 years
is
old?
too is like, where do you think they learned how to commit suicide? Probably on their
Online.
They didn't even know that it existed.
I didn't know.
that suicide existed
I didn't
for a
know.
long time.
Yeah.
You know?
Probably not even until I was in high school. like,
phone. That's so horrible.
because we lived in just a different generation. You didn't hear about the bad. Like they're raised knowing the bad things from such a young age.
Which
So
is
that
not
way,
healthy.
yeah,
It's
that takes
not.
your purity away from like in a certain aspect. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
no 8-year-old like my little brother that's 10 years old. Like he's seen things like just from and heard things from his friends in elementary school that we were probably still learning in high school.
Yeah.
Well, and it's my dad always says this to me. He goes, "The callousness of your generation is mind blowing
terrible.
to me." And I'm like, I know, and because I'm one of those people. I'm very dude. I see a guy blown up. Imagine I see a guy get obliterated by a bomb.
Yeah.
Won't faze me at all.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it. I've
Yeah,
seen it
yeah.
happen 100 times.
On
right?
social- you just
on
scroll, it's like the
movies
next video
and
on
social
Instagram,
media, and so
When you see those literal videos of people getting shot.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah,
like,
and
we
there's
can see. You can go on Google and find anything you want to see.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
and so, you know,
and
it's
it's
just
and it's casual. Like people will be like, "Dude, check this out." Like
yeah.
and it's
so
other stuff
terrible.
like the school shootings and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It was every other week basically, or every week it was happening. We were like, oh well,
Oh,
there's
guys,
another
you hear
one,
about the
you know?
school shootings?
Yeah, and it was. I mean, that was it. You know, we couldn't even keep
And
up.
in
It
the
was-
aspect, the media made that worse as well because I feel like those kind of people that do those shootings, they're looking for some sort of fame. I watched a documentary over it. They're searching for some type of fame
course,
or attention, you know? Yeah. And the media is the first source
giving them what they want.
So, of course, it just feeds more and more people to do it.
The media will focus on the negative things.
Yes.
Always.
All the time, because that's what people fixate on, you know? No one wants to see the positives.
Yeah.
And if you do, nowadays you're like lame because you want the goodness.
Well, the one thing that I'm so happy about with COVID is that all that finally stopped. I mean, y'all remember. Yeah, they were still happening all the way up until they were like, okay, everyone, we're leaving school because of COVID.
Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, but the school shootings were still
happening.
I never thought
about that.
There hasn't been a single one since.
Exactly.
As far as I know.
Well, because no one's been in school.
Right.
You know what
I know.
So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, I mean, I think less children are dying, for sure. I mean, people are still dying, but less children are getting shot and, by the dozens. Brutally murdered. Yeah. So
this is another hot topic that kind of comes from this that I just thought of. Is it better to continue living how we are like now, or go outside and live a normal life, lead a normal life how we were, and risk the chances of getting COVID?
I mean, to me, it's like, hey, everyone's got a chance of getting flu, right?
Yeah.
So, no, hang on, let me say what
I'm just thinking.
Okay, well, I think definitely take as many precautions as you can, but you can't stop it from, denying human nature. Humans are supposed to go outside. They're supposed to interact with other humans.
Social.
Yeah. They're we're social beings. We have to have the company of other human beings, or else we're just gonna
be depressed.
Yeah.
It's gonna lead to all the things that are happening.
All right. Well, so I think the way that we have it in Austin right now is actually pretty good, because they're still allowing live events. Like Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan have been performing together every week for a while at Stubbs Barbecue, which is 3 miles away from my house there or whatever. And it's really cool. Next weekend. They have an amphitheater. It's so hard to get tickets. Anyway, so they've been performing there, but they test every single person in the audience as they walk into the show.
Yeah, sure.
And if
that's just one of those precautions for sure.
Or you just have to bring a negative test from the day before the show or whatever.
Or if you're afraid of getting the virus,
and everyone has to wear a mask. Every single person in the show has to wear a mask.
And I like that. That's fine. But
exactly.
Also I would say have more live events. Like you said, these tickets are selling out. So if we take the right precautions, we should be able to do as much stuff as we.
But then there's places like College Station, which I know people are well, the virus doesn't exist. Or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we got it last night. It's evident in the videos we got from last night.
Yeah, you guys will see. We did a on the street episode of our show, and we're talking to different people at Northgate and College Station, and a lot of the people out there were saying, well, the virus doesn't exist. And it's funny.
Why do you all have your masks on?
Why do you guys have your masks on? And we're like, well, I mean, if we did have COVID, we didn't want to give it to you, right? Yeah. So, and I think that there's a certain level of responsibility, and it's interesting to hear these LA people who come from LA to Austin, and they're like, well, I always just thought Texas was the freaking Wild West out here, and people all had 6-shooters and no one was wearing a mask, and it's like, no, dude, people aren't complete and total idiots.
But maybe in some places.
Maybe in some places, but
majority
not. And I think that, especially in Austin, the way that everyone is saying, hey, we still need to live our lives because this is Texas, right? But we're also going to be as responsible as we can and say, okay, well, let's take all the precautions that we need to before we actually figure this whole thing out. Because in LA, that it is not like that at all. I mean, every restaurant is closed down. All these small businesses are completely failing. People are staying in their houses, and it sucks, dude. You hear people talk about this, and it just sounds awful. Also, I could never live there like that.
Also, in areas like College Station, where I don't see adults or children. We saw kids the other day,
weird. Yeah.
And it was weird.
In our apartment complex, kids with this 2 kids or something were just walking around the parking garage young kids. I don't know.
And it's just our
Levi
yeah, exactly.
What the heck are they doing here, man?
So it's just kids our age, right? And I don't even have a spring break, so I'm not even able to go home from school, you know?
Yeah.
So in that instance, right, they're taking that precaution to where we don't go home and get COVID and bring it back, or opposite, you know, get COVID here and then bring it to them.
Yeah.
But if it's just us surrounded by college kids all the time, the mortality rate is
nothing.
Like, it's so low for kids our age. So in
The
that
thing is,
aspect,
still people are always like, well, you're not gonna die. You're not gonna die.
no,
It still sucks.
well, no, for sure.
Pretty bad.
I mean,
You
that
get
guy
it.
said that as well. I except for me, I haven't had taste for like 6 months.
Yeah, in that interview as well, we had a guy who was amongst the group of people that were saying that COVID didn't exist, and he was like, well, I had it, and it was really awful.
Yeah, like
And-
it exists.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
sucked.
Yeah.
See, I think another aspect of that though is basically like it should be people's choice. Like
Right.
if you think that if you get COVID, it's going to do a lot of harm on you, then don't go to these places. Don't go out. You know, like make it your choice. If you want to go to a comedy show or whatever, and you feel like if you got COVID, it would do some damage to you, then don't go.
And then at that
But
point,
it's also,
if you're immunocompromised or something like that, and then you still go out, you can't be blaming other people for your
exactly. Like
But-
then you shouldn't have gone. Like if you
Also,
think that you were alive
their
or did
argument
that,
is though that we're the people that's keeping the virus alive to the point to where they're never going to be able to come outside.
Right.
So even if they are staying in, we're the ones staying out and spreading the virus.
Yeah.
So then they're never going to be able to come when they're never going to get that opportunity to come out again. So we can't expect them to stay in for the rest of their lives just
Yeah.
because we don't want to take the time. To
But
enjoy
also by
ourselves.
getting the virus, it lessens your chance of getting it again, right?
only for I think that only lasts for
It just
a month or two.
No, it depends how long your
Like
body can
immunity?
how long your body can hold the antibodies. Some people have the antibodies that have been able to last for like 5 months. Some people antibodies last like 2 weeks. Noah Cantu, sorry, didn't mean to call his name.
One of our friends got
got
coronavirus and has it again already.
Yeah, or
Or his family has it again already.
So obviously the antibodies are able to die off, but you got a period of time where. But you can still, I believe, even if you do have the antibodies, you're still able to pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
Like say, I don't know exactly how. I know you can get it, but I'm sure if it's
well,
in the
you
air,
won't.
you can trespass it,
You'll be asymptomatic, and then you can
pass it to
you
others.
can pass it to other
yeah,
people.
it sucks because like my grandparents, they've literally been stuck. Sorry. They've literally been stuck at their house like all of 2020 and still 2021. Like they
Right.
have not left their house besides like walking around the block to get some fresh air. And it sucks though because like all I can do is call them. You know, I haven't
Right.
seen them in months. But
Well-
the positive side of that is they now have
The vaccine.
The vaccine.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving was
Yeah, they have the
so
vaccine.
odd for my family because it was like so normally we all get together and we just have this huge Thanksgiving and we go to Maggiano's, the giant Italian restaurant, and we have this huge 5-course Thanksgiving dinner and
Yeah.
it's crazy and there's so many people there.
Right.
And this year we had like 9 people in the entire, and it was and normally we have like 30 people or whatever.
I can give you another example as well. My great grandma, she came down for my graduation, right? And in her mind, it was worth her taking the risk of getting COVID
Just
to
to
come
see
and
you.
see my graduation, which to me obviously that means a lot. But because of that, when she returned to the nursing home, they had her locked up basically for, which makes sense. They had her quarantined for the time being.
Yeah.
But they're still so trapped in this. It's kind of sad because even after her quarantine time passed up, for months now, it's been months, none of them have even been able to leave their rooms. So they're stuck in their rooms quarantining. They're not allowed to even go out and
Man,
eat.
it's like prison.
And also that's just taking time off of those people's lives.
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
those,
It's
you know?
just,
And it's
Well,
when you get
that,
to that
that
age, you
just
wanna
goes back
travel,
to the whole
you know?
nursing home thing. Because a lot of people, like, I understand that there's a lot of, like, they need really special help and stuff like that, but also there's just, like, people who, like, they're like, all right, now you're old and we have to take care of our kids, so we're just going to stick you in this nursing home. And
it's more of a in case thing as well too. It's like if you fall, we don't want you living on your own. Like my great grandmother, up until she was in her late 80s, lived in a place where it was like a codependent thing. So she
assisted living is what it's
assisted living.
That's
So
what
she
mine
had
is.
an actual condo. It was a whole condo with like a living room, kitchen, and a bedroom. And then she just had people that would come by every once in a while and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And that was it. And then or they'd get her groceries or whatever,
Right.
stuff like
That's
that.
nice.
So
I mean, and when you hit
But
that
those
age,
people are locked up, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you hit that age, like
even those
I know
people
my
that-
grandparents went to travel. Like
Right.
they're retired.
Yeah.
They've worked their butts off their entire life to save up money to go and live the rest like they want to now. Like they want to go travel and they cannot. Like they're trapped.
Everyone
They're
in
around.
this virus is being affected in a particular way. You know,
Yeah.
like the kids in the grade below us,
Yeah.
their entire senior year got ruined.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Our senior year,
Was
what we
halfway
thought,
ruined.
what we thought was going to be the best part of high school, obliterated by
Yeah.
the virus.
Like that.
Freshman year of college.
Man, it was
Freshman
crazy.
year of college,
Obliterated by the-
obliterated by the
Yeah.
virus.
Yeah,
Like,
people ask us like, "How's college going?" You know,
I don't know.
It's not that fun.
I haven't been there.
I haven't been able to do anything. I've met like maybe a total of 20 people in my entire however long 6 months we've been here.
I've met
Literally like maybe
2
20.
people in person.
Yeah,
from my
it's,
actual school.
Like
Yeah.
actually gone and hung out with new people, probably like 5 or 6.
But just
like it sucks.
the argument that you're saying about the grandparents, though. So in that aspect, that makes sense. On the it makes sense that we should have to stay in and to get this virus over with, so that they're able to lead their lives. But at the same time, if the virus just doesn't go, like if you have, because obviously we could say that and you come in, you do your part, but you still have all these other people that aren't doing their part, you know?
Well, and there's that other thing too, man, where time is valuable. We
Yeah.
live a finite number of years, and we are in this section of our lives now that is important. You know what I'm saying?
Very.
Like it's
Probably the most.
we're not
These next 2
we can't
years
just like give this stuff up, you know?
Yeah.
We've already had 2 of the years that we thought was going to be awesome completely wasted.
Yeah.
So
And we honestly we use that as an excuse, but there's plenty of people that have like totally changed their life just taking advantage of.
well, that's
I mean,
what we're trying to do.
That's
right
that's
now.
what I'm saying. Like
we
right now,
got sick and tired of sitting around and waiting for stuff to happen,
making
and
excuses.
doing classes online and
Yeah.
not seeing people and not making meaningful connections. And
Yeah.
you know, now here we are, and we're actually
Yeah.
trying to do something because we got so bored of
Yeah.
of waiting for COVID to end. And,
To try to do this stuff.
and now, I think that this is probably the best time. I think one of the best things to come out of COVID is all of our drive to pursue
yeah.
something better.
Because we got so much taken away from us, it leaves you
And we
hungry
see
for
how
more.
bad it can get.
And we
Well.
see, like, I know for me at least, like, I will never go to a public, next time I go to a public event, I will not take it, like, for granted. Man,
we were
'cause,
talking about that too.
like,
yeah.
I didn't realize how much I appreciated going to concerts until you no longer have concerts. And being in a body of people like
And
that.
being
and just
and
feeling the
feeling
moment, and
at the
feeling
concert,
feeling the
and it's
energy
just
of
like,
everybody.
yes, man. Like,
Yeah. Like you can feel an aura around you.
Yeah.
man,
Just-
I haven't
it's
felt that
powerful,
in
bro.
so long. Yeah, I'll not control.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I think it is super important that we.
Do you have 2? I already had 1.
You're good.
I'll split
You're
it
good.
with
You
you.
got this.
I'll split it with you.
Yeah, we got another one back there as well.
Which,
But yeah, I mean, I just think it's important that everyone who hasn't taken advantage of this virus giving them time to work on what they want to work on. You know what I'm saying?
pursue their
Because
goals and
that's
dreams.
that's the main thing that this virus gave us was
Time.
whenever it first started, man, I knocked out some scholarship essays like there was no freaking tomorrow, dude. Like, because I was sitting at home all the time, like
Yeah.
so.
We worked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
And so-
give us the appreciation for the things that we no longer have.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I feel like anyone who is just kind of sitting on their butt and waiting for this thing to be over and is constantly complaining
Yeah.
and
Making
is not
excuses.
using this time that they've been given as a way to better their post-COVID life,
Yeah.
you know, they don't have any room to complain because they're just not using it they're not looking at the positive side.
I mean,
Always look at the positive.
You have so
Exactly.
much, like, even before we were doing this, we still had so much time to work on yourself as an individual.
of course.
Like, I began to start to read, I began to start to work
that's
out, eating healthier. There's so many things that you have time to do and you can do to yourself, like, do by yourself to work on yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've actually I'm sure I'm not the only one, but taking this time to really grow closer spiritually.
Yeah, faithfully.
You know what I mean? Because when you have that, like it's your rock.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I know it's very controversial to go into that, but when you have a strong connection with God and you start reading a lot of the Bible, you start realizing and your faith in the fact that everything happens for a reason just puts things on a whole new level.
Well,
a whole different aspect.
And you can relate that to, I mean, not just Christianity, but just
any
any other
any
religion, or any
religion,
faith that you have in anything. You know, faith in yourself, faith in, you know, your government, faith in just learning about all these different things and taking the time to fully understand everything going on around you,
and that everything is happening for a reason. Like, it's not meaningless, you know. Everything that happens to you is honestly for the good. Even if it seems bad, it's a lesson that you learned.
Exactly.
So if you can realize that it's a lesson learned, then that's a positive.
Life is always about taking the horrible things that happen to you and learning from those things and growing.
I mean, it's like a comic book, you know, like the hero is always down bad before.
Exactly.
Even in reality, like,
you know,
people are like
pizzas.
They're just sitting at rock bottom. They're just sitting at rock bottom, thinking, "What could I be doing right now that's gonna make my life not like this?" And then they're like, "Oh, yeah," and then they figure it out. I mean, like that's just how it works.
COVID has taken a lot, but has also provided a lot of opportunities as well.
Yeah.
So some of the worst things that not worst things, but some of the things that really sucked, I've also had a lot of good things come out from it as well. Like out of COVID, I can't give you an example right now, but I mean,
what?
Just in the past months, like, okay, so COVID comes.
Oh, bro,
the bus.
Like, no, seriously. I mean, because whenever we worked on the bus, that blew me up on TikTok. A crazy thing with that was, like, Levi and I took this break from social media because we went to, like, you know,
work 21 days of fasting.
Yeah, fasting from social media, and like just so we could work on, you know, tapping into creativity, like just kind of vision, like working on things that are like focusing on the things that are truly important. And we just happened to come up on this bus that's been sitting at like this property that we own for, I don't know, like 8 years, and we were like, we could do something with this, you know. And it was like the Christmas break of junior year, and we just like started working on it, you know, taking some videos, and we were planning on posting them on TikTok. And then, you know, school came back around and we didn't really get as much out of it that we went, like we didn't get to finish it. And then COVID hit and we got out of school, you know, and then we were like, you know, let's finish. I don't know. No, what? It was because I was sitting around. I was like,
There's nothing to do.
I was like, nothing to,
well.
Yeah, I was like, I have nothing to do. So not, because I was like, and Gordon had, our friend had all the videos of the clips of life and working on West. He sent it to me and I like, you know, clipped them up, posted on TikTok. Literally in a day, I had like 24 hours. I had almost 100,000 followers on TikTok because we took that break from social media.
So
and then COVID hit, and it gave me the opportunity to make those videos, and I posted it.
That's what I'm saying.
So literally in a day.
It took away so much, but it also provided us with this huge following that he has now on TikTok. Because it gave us the time to where we were like, we got nothing better to do. I mean, what else are we going to use with this time?
Yeah. And I mean, another thing is, I mean, we already talked about it, but whenever you have this time to not do anything is a time that you should be working on yourself. Like, if you're not doing anything else, work on yourself. Go to the gym. Read something that actually influences you, like a self-help book. You know, if you have your Bible, read your Bible. Start listening to positive music.
Go outside and take a walk.
Go outside, take the earphones out, turn off everything, and just walk.
Feel the surroundings.
For real, feel the surroundings. Like the energy that you feel just from walking outside, breathing in the fresh air,
feeling like grass.
For example,
felt grass and like
dude. An example I have of this is literally last week because I've been forcing myself to wake up early. You know, like 6:30, which is like really freaking difficult. But I've been waking up 6:30, and as soon as I get up, put on my jog clothes. I put on my joggers and a hoodie because it's cold in the morning, and I go outside. And it was like last Monday, and I like walked outside. I had my earphones in, and I just walked to the park that was across the street from our place, and it's like this big open field, and there's no one out there. You know, it's 6:30 in the morning. No college students gonna be up at 6:30 in the morning.
Right.
And so I was looking out, and there was just like hundreds and hundreds of birds just like flying around, like walking around on the grass, like digging for worms. And I just like took out my earbuds, and I was like, whoa. I was like, that's so like surreal. Yeah. I was like, I can't remember the last time that I really just stopped and listened to the birds. Looked at them and just like watched what they were doing for a second. You know what I mean?
I had like
it was just like a crazy feeling, bro.
I had a similar thing when I was in theater in high school, and my director, this was like my sophomore year, my director used to do this exercise with us where prior to us like performing or prior to us rehearsing, Basically, whenever it was really like serious grind time, she would do this with us, and we would all lay down on the ground, and she would just take us through almost like a meditation type thing. So we'd all lay there, and she would say, "So imagine you're levitating and you're floating through this sort of space or whatever." Yeah. And so, and that would go on for 30, 40 minutes sometimes, and she'd just talk to us, and then by the end of it, we're all super calm and super focused, and we're like ready to go. Exactly. So there was this one time where she started it out, and she was like, guys, I'm sensing that you guys are just kind of feeling like kind of blah today, and so I just want to take the actual class time to just get you guys right for the rest of your day, because we had her first period.
That's so good.
And so she was like,
more teachers like that.
Yeah, so she was like, I just want to start a meditation with you guys, and so we were all laying down on the ground, and she was like, okay, so close your eyes and imagine that you're laying down on the grass and you're looking up at blue skies and clouds and all sorts of stuff, and we're doing that. She's like, and then she goes, when was the last time you guys have done that?
Yeah.
Like, for real.
I don't think I've ever done that in my life.
Do you guys know what grass feels like on the back of your arms and on your hands and on the back of your head? And do you know what it feels like to have just sun shining down on your face? Or
looking up at the sky.
Maybe you do know what it feels like, but do you really remember what it really feels like?
Yeah.
And we were at that point, and kids just started like crying, and they were like, no. Like, I don't remember what that feels like. I haven't done that in so long. I don't. I'm on my phone. I go to school. I do theater, and I go home, and that's all.
To the motions.
Yeah. I just go through the motions.
I want to provide an example as well.
It's a trap, man.
When I wasn't feeling like very good, like honestly, emotionally, mentally, even physically, I kind of felt sick during the period of time when we went home for Christmas break. Yeah. So like each day, I began to just wake up and try to get outside and breathe the fresh air. Even if it was like, I just go outside and I lay on the couch and I take a nap outside. Like, because we got like the outdoor couches, whatever. Yeah. And then I was like, why don't I just sit in the grass? Like, I haven't sat in the grass. And I sat in the grass, I laid down, and I stared at the clouds and watched the birds for probably 2 hours, and I did it for the rest of the week. Mm-hmm. And I've never felt like that joyous or that happy just by myself in my alone time. Yeah. Just like really absorbing like God's creation, It's just like going down to the beach and seeing like just pure bliss. You see the beach, you see the sand, you see everything God's created.
Yeah, like, I mean...
And you're just sitting there, you're imagining, like, the vastness of the ocean.
Exactly.
You're sitting on the beach, and there's...
The ocean does a whole different thing for me, man.
It was,
every single time I'm at the ocean, it's, like, nighttime. It's, like, it really touches me in, like, a way that nothing else does. I mean, and another example, like, a crazy thing is you can, walk around and see all these buildings and... a house, like anything like that. These are like man-made things. Right. Like somebody on this earth made that. Right. But when you walk outside and you just look at a tree, you're like, no human can build that. You can't build that, bro. It's like you can't build it to that perfection.
Well, that's that's where I was going with what I was saying when I was laying in the grass. Like, just looking up at the clouds and seeing them move and the way the world just works. Yeah. The crows flying. There was, like, crows flying around, messing with each other in the air. I don't know exactly what they were doing, but you just...
they were lollygagging.
Yeah, having a good time, messing around. Crow stuff. Yeah. And I was just thinking, like, how would it feel to be, like, a cloud or a bird just to, like, float freely and just, like, that kind of bliss, It just gives you so much, like, room to think. And
I mean, how many worries do they have? Like, dinner.
Yeah, I get my food and I sleep in a tree.
Well, or a cloud.
Literally no thought.
Thing.
Yeah. So you just float.
Well,
it's pure bliss.
Okay, so you were talking about how you can't like build a tree, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard that thing? It's like the Fibonacci Sequence, I think is what it's
called.
And
it's
this really strange spiral, and it has some mathematical way of explaining itself. Whatever.
There's like a number for every.
Right. Yeah. So, but it's crazy because it's everywhere in nature. Like how your hair swirls on your head, like a bunch of stuff in like the universe, like
pine cones.
Yeah, pine cones.
Different
like
kinds of
snails.
flowers. Yeah.
Like it's super weird. Like
what is it?
The Fibonacci sequence.
You should really look into it.
It's like a group of numbers that all follow this certain kind of spiral pattern, and it's all different places in nature. That's really crazy.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Because like that's
even in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing. Like,
this is me and him kind of got into this weird thing. I don't even know if it's true, but we were talking about like the significance of numbers and God, like how like the whole world is almost a mathematical equation, and you see like numbers as signs and stuff. Like me and him keep on seeing. I don't even know if this is a real thing or not.
I don't know if it is or not, but it's pretty.
But
nice.
like it's weird.
It's
like
weird.
we'll look at the clock. It's 4. Like it could just be that
So
I'm manifesting.
what they say, like the meaning behind the numbers 444. What was it?
It's basically that like you're going in the right direction.
It's
like
a sign that if you're seeing like 444, like like
Yeah,
three of
for Jay-Z's album.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and so
Yeah.
like if you're seeing 444, like it's just a sign from whatever religion you believe in, God will say for us is it's like showing that you're going the right path, like you're going down the right direction, like keep going. You know?
And like I said, it could.
So whenever you see 444, like him and I keep seeing 444, and we're like, whoa, and it's really like a reassurance, which is
No, it's
really
awesome.
nice.
It's awesome.
It's really nice.
I mean, you look at the clock and it'll be like 444. Yesterday we went to Dallas, or 2 days ago we went to Dallas, and we look at the sign. And it says call this number 444-4444.
Yeah, we were like,
what is going on? Right now? I'm getting just thinking about it.
It was weird, bro. And I took a screenshot. I was scrolling TikTok or whatever, and this video. Literally, I was just scrolling and I stopped for like half a second, and it caught my eye. Like the likes, this video literally had 444,004 whatever.
Yeah.
444.4 likes.
Yeah.
And I screenshot. I was like, "Yo, Levi." He was like, "Holy fuck, bro." He was like, "Holy shit, man!" Like that was crazy.
It's weird, and it could be just something that like
It's just a coincidence, but like
and it could be like
a reinsurance.
But cool. Albert Einstein saying. Coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous.
Anonymous.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, take that as you want it, you know? Like, we see it as coincidence. And maybe because, we saw that thing online, we're looking for the number 444.
Yeah.
How many times you look at the clock?
Right.
Just like whenever you see...
But
like,
it still is odd.
Like when you drive a G-Wagon, you'll start seeing more G-Wagons. Just
Exactly.
It's
bound to happen, but maybe that was how God made it for us to be. We started to look out for this number, so now we're seeing it more. Like... How often do you see a number on a sign that is 4?
And it's interesting because
4.
Because the number may mean nothing, but the fact that you're seeing it brings you a sense
significance
of
to
hope.
us. Yeah,
It brings you a sense of
Significance
hope
to
or a
us.
sense of like
Reassurance.
reassurance. And so, I mean, I think things are all designed in a very particular way to help us through our lives, and I think that's an example of.
Something
You may be
in our
just manifesting it just because you're looking for the number, but
or looking for something to be hopeful for.
Yeah.
but it's helping, so
Yeah.
you might as well. Yeah.
isn't it weird how whenever you get wet, I've heard this before, I don't know if it's true or not, but like whenever your hands get wrinkly, it's so that you can pick stuff up underwater.
I've heard
Is
that.
that
as well.
true?
I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't think
I
it's
don't know.
No, that's an interesting thought though, because I've always thought about
How like your body starts.
like your-
because I would
adapting
imagine
or
that
adapting
it's
to
like
the
you're
environment.
adapting
Adapting to the
to your.
It's just like in amphibians, they have.
I'm sure somebody's gonna shit on us with some facts. For
Yeah,
what
I
we
hope
said,
so.
but-
Yeah.
Please
Somebody
tell us. Tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
And with that,
As
I
always-
think that we
I think
are
that's it.
gonna wrap it up here
It's a good finisher.
with our pretty fingers and our warm water.
Old people hands.
For real, leave comments of whatever you want us to talk about, and we'll definitely take it into
Yeah,
consideration.
any topics that you guys want us to talk about, any questions that you guys have for us, please
Any
let
video
us know.
ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again for watching. Again, I'm Sam,
I'm Levi.
I'm Jack.
I'm Cade.
and this has been Makeshift Media CUZZI Talk.